is suggestions for Battlefield 1. It's a little late, but right as I was about to publish it, the patch was coming out, and I wanted to see how that was going to affect the game, or if it was really going to change a lot of things that were bothering me. It kind of did, but we'll talk about that later. The first thing I really want to mention is the launch of Battlefield 1 being a success. I experienced like major flops with previous titles in this series, and while there are some minor glitches, it's nothing by comparison. The launch of 4 basically made me hate the series, and with no compensation or real adjustments, I basically traded it in. I never had an interest in it, struggling for months with a broken game that didn't work, that crashed constantly. I mean, I just hated it. So far, the only really common glitches that really affected me while playing was a revive glitch, where you'd have the you'd get revived and then all of a sudden your weapon wouldn't fire, and that was like something that happened all the time, and that was terrible. You know, like, what was the point of getting revived if there's enemies rushing at me and I stand up and I just look at them and I can't do anything? So that was crap. And the same kind of weird little momentary glitch of like where you would throw a nade and then you couldn't shoot for like a second, you know, and you're like throwing a nade and people are just rushing you and you're just looking at them like, hey, and then yeah, you basically die. So both were crap, but I saw them being easily fixed. The revive glitch seems to have been worked on, but it's still there. It still happens. But maybe it happens less frequently, I don't really know. Honestly, it's still happened to me quite a bit, so it's hard for me to say. This game, however, looks great, sounds fantastic. It also has a lot of refined details that I thought were missing from earlier titles, and honestly, while it's still missing a few features, I would really enjoy seeing, like, them trying to develop them, maybe making them better or adding them later, you know. And I'm going to suggest them later in this video. I will also suggest the format of some possible game modes and other things I would like to see, as well as talking about ideas for balancing the game. So, to begin with, I'm going to start with balancing, because I feel it's the most pertinent to improving the gameplay in its current state, rather than the addition of things that will develop later on. You know, the biggest downfall of this game in its current state is the assault class. Like, it's just terrible. Like, in order to help prove this, I would suggest just taking a quick poll to see how many people spawn in as assault compared to any other class. And I would without any doubt tell you that on PS4 the number is staggering. Like, every game mode, the team is flooded with assault players. Then usually snipers, then maybe support, and lastly, like, you'll have like a couple medics. Mostly, you know, whenever people form their own squads in a game, they'll have like one new play medic. I mean, this is of course the meta of video games. Whatever is the easiest and most effective approach will always be overplayed. And not only do assault players have access to devastating automatic SMGs that can be fired just as well as like assault rifles from like range, but they also have access like to shotguns, which are insane and one-hit kills most of the time. And you know, it's only a matter of time as well that once everyone unlocks the Hell Regal, this gun will probably be in every match. And honestly, the fact that hipfire is so accurate makes these weapon types even more viable for most situations. Not to mention, the extra grenades for killing tanks are often just chucked out in hallways, and quite honestly, grenades are very strong in Battlefield. In fact, for several games of the series, spamming nades into choke points is labeled as like strategy rather than common sense, just because it's so strong. It's so easy to get kills, and really there's not a whole lot you can do about being spammed in the hallway. So, how do you balance this? The real answer is you can't. You know, it sounds unreasonable, but realistically, gun balancing is very hard, class balancing is very hard, and a lot of the things, if you tweak them, you basically have this struggle between keeping them relevant and then keeping them balanced. And a lot of the times, you know, there'll be two common changes that occur. The first will be lowering the damage output, either it's direct damage or it's drop-off damage. And the second will be increasing the spread or recoil. Both of these are the most common steps taken in gun balance, but this always leads to like the same result. The gun that used to be overpowered will become useless, and eventually people will discover the next best gun, and it will create this cycle of patches that no one will ever be happy with. This is like one thing I can openly support about the Destiny model, and they're taking polls on the guns, you know, like which gun is used in order to figure out which gun is quote broken, because if everybody's using it, something's wrong with it. It's really strong or it's really easy. I mean, that's how it always is. That's like the one positive I can give to Destiny, is that was a good idea. So we could take this usual path, but I would suggest an alternative that I think would help Battlefield in a couple of ways. I want limits on the number of players that can choose a class. So for example, on a map of 12 players per team, like only about 4 or 5 players can select one type of class. So only 4 and 5 players can be assault on this map. Now the rest will have to disseminate into the other classes. This of course can scale with the size of the player base, and honestly I would prefer relevance to matter too, but I'm not worried if it doesn't. The largest reason being that Battlefield is always viewed as a game of teamwork. Supports help their team with ammo, medics with healing, scouts for recon, assault for destroying vehicles, you know. And the last one kind of makes me laugh a little bit because realistically most assault players just run away from vehicles, you know, to avoid dying because they used all their anti-tank nades trying to get a kill, but this is just something we see every day for some reason. So everyone spamming this class just to use the overpowered kit just takes away from the team aspect. The other reason I think class limits will help is that it will make the overpowered guns less saturated on the battlefield, you know, like that's the main reason, that's the main appeal. People want these guns. These guns are devastating, so they want to get those guns so they can get the easy kills. And so if you nerf one, you're just going to use the next best thing. You know, the automatic got hit. MP18 is still pretty ridiculous. Shotguns completely unfazed by the patch, which is hugely disappointing. Why you would not do something about the A10 Hunter is just like a mystery that makes no sense whatsoever. Like, I can't even understand that. Like, it's so broken. Hell of people complain about it on multiple forums, but you know, we just left that shit fine. So the noob and the cheap player will hate this idea of class limits because they want to just play these classes all the time. Just look at any Argonne Forest map or any infantry based game mode. You know, it's just flooded with assault players, like non-stop. It's so annoying. And I'm unconcerned because everyone playing assault for their own selfish reasons takes away from the Battlefield experience. Like, that's what helps make Battlefield a unique game. That team-orientated focus of having a good medic support your squad, or having an ammo guy to keep everyone stocked up, or having like a scout flare an objective before making a push, or having like everybody support an assault making a play against a tank. These are what we play Battlefield for. The simplistic everyone play assault and hipfire experience can be had on any Call of Duty game. And honestly, having hipfire so incredibly strong is just ridiculous. It's almost like one is punished for aiming down their sights with a lot of guns and rewarded for hip firing. We can assume this is due to the persistence of gas, but honestly, it really makes using a rifle or semi-auto naturally at a disadvantage in any semblance of close quarters, because anybody holding fully automatic SMG is just going to tear you apart while you have to like hip fire and hope that you get a hit. And speaking of gas spam, actually before we move on to gas spam, I just want to mention that some of the guns have felt a lot better with this patch. Like, hip firing is a little less, you know, God mode. There is some relevance to aiming down your sights, and I'm really grateful for that. Especially with some of the pistols. Some of the pistols were just utterly useless to aim down your sights. Like, it was a joke. And now they're a lot tighter. You actually hit people you're aiming at. So really appreciative of that. It did kind of change the meta of handguns. Like right now I felt like revolvers were just OP. And now not so much. Now the semi-autos and the ones that you can spam fire seem to be out shooting most. So that's kind of a good change. I don't know. I'm just happy there's more accuracy with aiming down your sights. That was a good step in the right direction, because I really was frustrated with the idea that aiming down your sights hurt you as a player. So speaking of gas spam, that's like so prevalent in every facet of the game, I have too conflicted of a viewpoint to really talk about gas. On the one hand, I'm very annoyed and hate how often gas is thrown pointlessly by teammates and enemies, and surprised by how easy it is to get kills with. Like, it is so easy to get kills with. It's kind of like, what the hell. But on the other hand, it is World War I, and this is probably the most authentic relationship of the game to actual history. And thank God we're not pissing on our shirts and wrapping our faces to avoid the mustard gas. You know, that's an actual thing, so it's cool that we all get a gas mask. But it's hard to say what to do about gas, because it was such a devastating factor in this war. I do, however, like that it affects teammates, though I wish other grenades did too, because grenade spam, like I mentioned before, is still a problem in my eyes, and people running through it bothers me. Like, if not making it so friendly fire kills people, which will probably never happen, even though it would be the thing I would like the most, at the very least, make it give like a staggering effect, or something that makes it hard to function perfectly fine when a grenade blows up at my feet, you know? There's a lot of people just running through these anti-tank grenades, you know, grenades designed to blow up tanks, and they're shooting like perfectly fine because it's like friendly fire, and it's just like, nah, come on, fix that. That's just stupid. As far as vehicle balance goes, I feel most of it is okay. I feel like tanks are really strong, but like that is mostly in part to people not focusing them down, you know, with large numbers of countermeasures. Realistically, I think the only thing that would really help with them balancing wise is making it so they can no longer use third person while driving. I feel that when I personally use this feature, it just makes it so easy to avoid people and like trying to place dynamite or sneak up on the tank. The planes are strong if good players use them, but their countermeasures were absolutely insane. So killing or zoning a plane with an AA was pretty easy, you know. I feel like this was improved after the patch. Like, it's a little less like annihilation, I guess would be the best way to say it. But I still feel like, you know, there's enough flak guns and things to take down planes pretty easily. So the one thing I don't like about the planes though is the grenade bombardment. Like, they have an ability, or a loadout you could call it, where they just drop a bunch of grenades. Like, grenades are super strong. They drop like so many, it's just ridiculously easy to get a kill with that. Like, you can almost like never miss as long as you were in the general area. Like, maybe just give a little less grenades. Like right now they drop like 12. Like, maybe just calm that down a little bit so that they don't drop quite as many, so it's not as easy to just kill people, especially like on Monte Grappa, where it's like really hard to miss because you fly close to the mountains and everybody just drops like 12 grenades in like the trench running from B to D, or maybe yeah, B to D. The only other real nerf that I would like to see towards the vehicles, well, they did do decreased range on the flak guns for the artillery trucks, so that's good. But one thing they didn't decrease the range on that I'm not sure about, but I don't think they did, was the boat's torpedoes. They had like such a long range. Like, there were certain maps where the dreadnought would spawn and people would just sit on a boat really far away and sink the boat with torpedoes, and like the boat couldn't even hit them because they were like so far out of range. I haven't seen if this has been taken away or changed. But yesterday it didn't seem like. Hopefully the boat thing has been changed though and made a little better. The only other real thing that I find kind of ridiculous is the effective range of the flamethrower. It's really far and can be such an effective tool for killing people. So maybe tightening that up, but you know, like, just what I mean by that is like making it hit harder when you're closer and hitting a little less hard when you're further away. But honestly, I feel the sentries were a bad addition, especially on the infantry only game modes. They can be so unforgiving when a squad is supporting them, you know, like people are keeping him stocked on ammo or throwing him health every time he's hurt. And I know this from experience because my squad will often baby one on mounted grappa. But you know, some people really like the sentries, and there is the factor of bayonets, backstabs, and gas for certain ones. Still, I really rather have them removed from infantry only game modes, especially because of, as of late, it seems to be more and more common for one player to just sit there waiting for them to spawn constantly, because they just want to use their cheap kit instead of running around playing the game, you know, regularly. In order to help with that, I would suggest at least giving them more spawn point possibilities, but not increasing the number of spawns. Basically, keep what we have now, and then just make it so there are multiple spawns in different locations it might pop up, as long as it is not in use. This would make hoarding these much more difficult, because instead of one person waiting at one place for them, you know, they'd have to be at like 3 different places at once. So it would kind of cut down on people hoarding these sentry kits and just trying to use them to have an unfair advantage. Especially like the Tank Guevara, the one-shot sniper. I see people camping these all the time in Conquest, like just sitting there waiting for them over and over again. So the last bit, it's not so much a balancing issue, but more of a fairness issue involving the behemoths. There are a lot of instances of people basically ignoring them the entire time they are up, and then suddenly shifting into full kill mode when they have like 10% left. This model of the person delivering the final hit being the only person that gets credit for the kills and destruction is crap. My squad and I have had several occurrences of one or multiple of us working very hard to take one of these out of the game, and then had our final blow stolen many times and lost all the points while doing the majority of the work. So I suggest a different system where if you put in at least 25% of the work needed, because in my opinion that is a good chunk of effort and a fair chunk of effort to get points towards killing, especially, you know, when you consider that everyone on the map can contribute. I do feel it's okay to keep the last person to hit it eligible to get the points, but letting the main contributors get points is only fair in my opinion, especially when you may be someone that died multiple times trying to get damage on one. As I stated, you know, before, I'm very impressed with the game overall, and really only seek a few changes to make the game a little bit better of an experience. Assault spam is really the most annoying thing to me, and I really feel like limiting the number of people playing it is better than going through the pains of trying to find a proper balance for their guns and somehow keep them still relevant, like I said earlier. The last part will be suggestions or changes I thought that might have been better, like the behemoths, for example. Talking about them again, they can be such a huge factor in winning the game, and in some cases very overpowered. Instead of this model, I would have liked to see them as like an event for just helping troops get across the map without being some insane killing machine. So like the train would like streamline across the map, and then people could just jump off and try to take the backline objectives, or you know, the Zeppelin could cross the sky and people could parachute out and try to get into the backlines again, instead of just being like this giant tank just killing everything. But you know, they have pros and cons, so you know, they can be dealt with. Still, I'd rather have liked something like that. Mostly because coordination of randoms often leaves a lot to be desired, and that's the nicest way I can say that. Another great change you made in this game is the animations of climbing into vehicles. I love that we finally have this, but I'm so disappointed there's no climbing out animation. We still have magical teleports that prevent people in tanks dying with their tank, or pilots teleporting out and suiciding out of bounds when they were shot down by an enemy plane. This is something I've hated since Battlefield 3, and 6 years later still dealing with this magical teleportation that is just crap. Why we stopped halfway with the climbing animations, I cannot fathom, but a major disappointment. It also leads to another complaint which has been around for years. People jumping off vehicles going like full speed and suffering no problems from inertia, momentum, just magical teleport to a perfectly unharmed standing position ready to take aim. I've always hated this. It was especially problematic in BM4 when everyone jumped off a motorcycle or an ATV going full speed, and I've always felt we needed the animation of them hitting the ground and rolling, or at least have them take damage to simulate the risk of jumping off a vehicle moving that fast. But there's never been anything. They've always just been magically fine. The only other suggestion which I wanted to make is a possible game mode scaffold, which is basically capture the flag. Unlike in Battlefield 4 though, I don't want this to be riddled with vehicles. I want the main focus of this game to be infantry and be like real squad heavily influenced. Not just a snatch and grab for the flag like in BF4 where somebody would grab it, helicopter would come snatch them up and then you just drag it back, or something like that. It's got low numbers. I like the idea of war pigeon elements such as your traditional capture the flag setup, but instead of flags we're grabbing a telegraph of coordinates to drop bombs on the enemy. I feel like giving the flag carrier movement speed penalty would also make it more of a team effort, and that they would need to help protect you from incoming enemies. But honestly, I would just be fine with the traditional CTF mode that was an infantry based game mode where a good squad could actually make a difference, and coordinating with your teammates was actually important. The other ideas for game modes is just a rehash, bringing back Squad Deathmatch. This was my favorite game mode on BF3 and it's been gone forever. I want to see Conquest Small as well. Probably going to be like a DLC or something horrible like that. It should just be one of those features that you add, in my opinion, because relying on this many blueberries is usually more frustrating than enjoyable. Another suggestion is for the console version specifically, please give us a chat box. No doubt it would be full of stupid crap spam, but it would also be a useful tool for people. You know, to just help coordinate with the team, help talk to the team, or maybe ask somebody for something in particular, because, you know, sometimes you're in a private party and you just have no real communication with, like, other people outside.
We are winning.
The only other thing, which is speaking about communication and why a chat box would be important, if you play a medic, revive. And if you play support, drop ammo. That would be a big help. Also, if a medic, go ahead and toss out that health kit. There's nothing wrong with just throwing health kits out so people can pick them up. Other than that, I don't know why we took away counter knifing. Also, the only other thing worth mentioning is the Martini Henry, but truthfully, at the time of making this video, I don't snipe all that much and haven't really played with it. Considering the high damage it does, eventually it will probably be all anybody snipes with, but for the moment I don't have any experience with it, so I will talk about it at a later time. Like I said, I'm really happy with the patch, and I'm glad that Battlefield has taken time to consider feedback from the community. I hope they continue to do so and just keep making this game better. The only other suggestion I have is kind of something that Stone Mountain 64 suggested, which is related to battle packs and medals. Like maybe if you complete a medal, it would reward you with like a basic battle pack. This would kind of make it have a little more incentive, and honestly the medals right now just feel like not worth it, so I think that might make them a little more something to do. Anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comment section, and later days.